Hi everyone, it's Dawn Fisher again from Morning Glory Needleworks. Welcome to FlossTube video number 2. I'm so excited. Thank you to everybody who subscribed, commented, and liked my channel. And the video, the FlossTube number 1. I really appreciate it. The first one was a little long. I hope it was interesting. So from now on, they're going to be a little bit shorter. So it's the 15th of January, and here's my new video. And I want to tell you that I've added chapters to the first video so that if there's only a certain section you want to see, go down into the description, and there's a list of all the chapters with a timestamp in front of it. If you click on that timestamp, it'll take you to directly the section you want to see. So if you only want to watch Stitch of the Month, click on that. It will show you that section and then continue on, and you can stop it whenever you want. If you only want to see about the sampler I talked about last month, you can just jump straight to that. I'm just trying to make it a little bit easier for everybody who's watching to see exactly what they want to see. So first off, I want to start with like a life update. Actually, things are going really well. We're very happy. Life's been pretty uneventful. Nothing super exciting has happened. We got a few things going on. We actually joined the YMCA, yay, and went to our first silver sneakers class. Now, if you're of an age, you can join silver sneakers for free if you're on Medicare. And so it's one of the few advantages to being old. So we're going to take advantage of whatever they offer us. So we've been doing a couple workouts a week. They're on Tuesdays and Thursdays. We're starting real slow. It's just kind of a chair exercise and stand up. It's on balance and strength and your core, just to improve your overall health. There's a little bit of yoga involved, a little bit of using bands and for strength and a ball and just other things. And so far, we really like it. It's not a strenuous workout. That's just what we wanted, was just something to help build our strength back up, especially Jeffrey. Now, a lot of you may not know our history or what's going on. Last year was a pretty bad year for us, mostly Jeffrey. Probably around April, he suffered a mild stroke, which we're very lucky. The only thing it has affected is his speech. He has aphasia. So he has a little bit of problems speaking, nothing major. Sometimes he knows what he wants to say. It's just getting the words out that are a challenge sometimes. So he's improved quite a bit. So that's something we're working on. Also, he had some problems with his foot, and after several surgeries, ended up having the lower part of his right leg amputated. So he's healed up really well. Unfortunately, he had to be in hospital and rehab for 2 months, and he wasn't walking much for a while before that because of the problems with his foot and his leg. And so obviously lost a lot of strength, though that's another reason we're going to this simplified workout, just to kind of build strength back up and get him so he can move around easier and just build the strength muscles back up in his legs and his arms and that. So just to make it easier for him to get around. So that's why one of the reasons we joined the Y. And I just think will be really good. We've gone to 2 classes so far. They're 45 minutes. The instructor's great. And it's a nice little variety of exercises just to help build up strength and balance. That's a big thing, even for me, build up the balance. So another fun thing that's going on is Monday, Martin Luther King Day, we are going to Webster, which is some of you from Florida may have heard of Webster. It's a huge flea market. It's about an hour and a half north of, hour and 20 minutes north of St. Petersburg, where we live. It's a tiny town. There is pretty much nothing there but the flea market. And the flea market is monstrous. It's actually, there's 2 separate flea markets that are across the road from each other. We usually go to the west side because that's more antiques, collectibles, the kind of things we like. And it's huge. And there's a couple times of the year where it's unbelievably huge, like Martin Luther King Day and President's Day. So we're going to go Monday for Martin Luther King Day. And I don't know how busy it's going to be this time. We were there a month or so. We were there in November, and it wasn't real busy because it started raining. So we had to leave before we got anywhere through the whole thing. They can have up to, I think, about 2,000 vendors. So it's huge, huge, huge. When it's busy like that, we don't even get through the whole flea market because it's also an early flea market. They open at 7. I think the vendors can start setting up at 4:30, and they're actually the day before, and they open at 7. So a lot of them start closing up around noon, 1 o'clock. So if you don't get there early and get around, it can be challenging to get through the whole thing. So, but that's kind of a fun thing. They actually have scooters there, that electric scooters. So Jeffrey rents a scooter and drives around, and I pull our wagon. We have one of those foldable wagons for all of our exciting purchases. I am not planning on buying much. We're trying not to buy much of anything. We have lots of stuff. You can see a lot of my stuff back here. So we really don't need anything, but sometimes you find a treasure, you know, and the prices are usually fairly reasonable. So that's our plans for this week or next week. So we're really excited about that. Just, it's fun to get out again. And it's all outside. There's a section of it that's covered. So that's nice too. And those are more the permanent vendors, but it'll be a good time. So we're looking forward to it. And on the next video I do, hopefully I can show you some treasures. If we find anything, I can show you a few of my treasures I picked up. So the next thing I want to talk about, even though we're not going to do a new stitch of the month, that's only going to be on the 1st. I just want to talk about and thank everybody that have joined the Stitch of the Month group. We're at over 170 members now. I'm thrilled. It's a Facebook group. I'll provide a link in the description or the comments below the video here. So you can click on that link. It'll take you right to the Facebook group. You can request to join. And there's like 2 questions you need to answer. You may need to answer. So just answer those and I will approve you. So, but I just wanted to thank everybody, and especially I want to send a big thank you, shout out to Sue Donnelly of Stitcher, the founder of Stitcher's Hideaway, who referred a lot of her friends to me. That really helped it grow. And so thanks, Sue. I hope you're watching. Yay. I know you subscribed. So I'm looking forward to working with the group and giving you a new stitch each month to learn. But a little something I've done, this is only for members of the Stitch of the Month group. When you go in there'll be a file. Up in the files, you can see I've got a free chart that I created. It's a little pin cushion. It's kind of for Valentine's Day. It's called the Hearts and Crowns pin cushion. And this is free to download as a PDF. I've got the colors I recommend. You can use whatever colors you want. There's an alphabet here. You can put your initials in it. So it's just a little something, like I said, for the free, for the Stitch of the Month group. So, and a lot of these motifs are from this book I'm going to be talking about soon, the embroidery motifs from Old Dutch Samplers. So we'll be talking about that little later on in the video here. So, and one thing I wanted to ask was, what stitches do you want to learn? If there's stitches you're having problems with, or stitches that you've seen but you don't know how to do, let me know. Put it in the comments below, and I will pick one of the stitches from the comments and go over it. And in the Stitch of the Month group, there'll be a PDF file that you can print out with a diagram of the stitch and how to complete it. And so I'd just like to hear from you. I want this Stitch of the Month to be for people that want to learn new stitches. So just like I said, comment below. What stitches do you want to learn? Also, what stitches do you hate? What stitches do you not like to do? Comment below and let me know. I love queen stitches, which some people hate and find really difficult, but that might be a stitch I go over in the near future. So again, just comment below. What stitches do you want to learn? What stitches do you hate? Just let's get, a little conversation going here. So that's kind of where I want to go right now with the stitch of the month. So I look forward to hearing from you. So I wanted to talk about, this isn't really an antique, but it's a vintage book from my collection. And it is my favorite book of all time. It's the first book on samplers that I bought. I got it in the late 80s. I bought I have 2 copies. I bought the first copy at an EGA National in, I don't remember where I was at, maybe San Antonio, I think, but it was in the 80s. The book, here's the book. This is Embroidery Motifs from Old Dutch Samplers. And it was first published in 1974. It's currently out of print, but you can find it. I found it. Actually, I'll provide you with a link, so you'll have all the information on it. It's actually an Amazon link. I found this on eBay. I think you can find it anywhere. I did not pay much for this. I don't know, maybe $15, $20. And I've seen it listed for up over 100. It all depends. This is actually a library book that was from Del Norte County, in California. I think that's where the book came from. But as you can see, it only got checked out once in 2005. So they discarded it and now it's in my possession. This is the first edition of the book. So there's another edition that I have that has a different cover on it, but it has all the same motifs in it. The other version actually has a woman, a sampler, and it has a large woman on the front of the book from the sampler pattern. I've seen people stitching it on some of the Facebook groups I'm in, and that chart is actually in the other edition of the book. So I just wanted to read what it says. Oh, this book is by Alberta Muhlenbelt Newberg. I think that's how to pronounce it. And just a little history for you. I actually grew up in Holland, Michigan, or I lived there for over 20 years, from 1967 to 1989, when we moved to Florida. And so obviously there was a lot of Dutch influence there, and it was kind of fun to find this book. I believe I had seen it by somebody in the Embroiderers Guild EGA group I was in Zeeland, Michigan, which is right next to Holland. And so when I found it, I purchased it right away. So anyway, let me just read you the inside flap here. It says, motifs for Old Dutch samplers drew their inspiration from old stories and symbols whose origin and meanings lie much earlier than the period in which the craft flourished. Alberta Muhlenbelt Newberg explains the significance of flowers, animals, and biblical characters that animate each design, and gives over 700 color-coded cross-stitch patterns for reworking the old motifs. Together with the color code, there is a color scale of the original threads used in the old samplers and 8 color plates of the samplers themselves. Beautiful in themselves, these designs will prove a fruitful source of stimulus and ideas for all needlewomen. And of course, there are needlemen, but they didn't talk about that then. So in the back of the book, here's the color chart with the symbols. And also in 1974, there were no programs for charting needlework. So all this book these are all hand-drawn charts. Of course, they're copies, but they're all hand-drawn charts. So I just wanted to show you a little bit about the book. And again, you should be able to find a copy. I think just when I typed in the name of it into Google, a lot of them came up. So, and like I said, varying prices, varying condition. This one's really nice because it has this nice plastic cover over top because it used to be a library book. But here is one of the color pictures. This is a wonderful sampler. It is a Marken sampler, which is a province or state or whatever they're called in Holland, the Netherlands. This one's from 1670. It's silk on linen. It was worked in cross, long arm cross, and trellis hemstitch. So, and these motifs are in this book. So let me also show you. And at the beginning of every chapter, she talks about, this is the previous chapter, she talks about what's in that chapter. This one's birds and animals. And it talks about the symbolism of birds and animals, what they mean. Every motif she shows in here has a corresponding note as to what sampler it's from, where it's from, that type of thing. Let me show you this. Peacocks are very popular right now. And I love, look at all the wonderful peacocks. They're fabulous with a tree of life there. And then she notes where each of these birds are from. So number 50 is a swan. It's from an undated sampler in a private collection. So she just tells where they're located, where the sampler's located, and then again, the color code in the back tells, shows what the color should be for the sampler, for the motifs. Here's, I love the alphabets. There's fabulous alphabets in here. And if any of you know Dutch or German alphabets, I love this. I love them all, actually. I'm always into alphabets. And the Dutch alphabets have the wonderful curly Q's. You can see that. And they're all charted in here. And she tells where they're from and what the date is on the sampler they were taken from. And here's another picture. This is a yoke, and a woman would have worn it over the front and back of her dress. And this is stitched. There's a little bit of lace around the neck. This is dated 1856, and it's wool on canvas, and it's all done in cross stitch. So, like I said, this book is just, if you're interested in maybe designing a few things on your own. This one, this pattern, this chart, I've used this in one of my beginner cross stitch patterns. This pattern here, and you can see it again down here. The first one is from cross stitch border patterns from Schoenberger's pattern book of 1523. That's how old some of these designs are. This bottom one is from cross stitch border from Peter Quentel's pattern book of 1529, reprinted in 1882. So quite a bit of history here. Like I said, just a lot of trees of life. This is a phenomenal book. I highly recommend it. So that is something from my collection. Again, if there's anything you'd like to see, I have all sorts of stuff. So let me know if you enjoyed that. And I have other very cool old books that I'll be talking about in future FlossTube. So stay tuned. So another exciting thing I have is I have a finish. I'm so excited. This pattern, I bought it in 2020. A lot of people did. It was very, very popular. And I'm very thrilled with it. I'm sure a lot of you have heard of it or have it started or have finished it. This is coming to America. It's celebrating 400 years. So it's coming to America, The Women of the Mayflower. This was the wonderful book. The pattern came in. Here is the cover. You can see this is what the sampler supposed to look like. Of course, I made my own little changes to make it mine, because that's what I do. And so it's done by with my needle and thread, Brenda Gervais. I know it's not being sold currently, but there's still, it's out of print, but it's still available. I've seen it advertised. Some shops may still have copies of it. I've seen it, a few shops or people that bought it and then decided not to do it. If you look, you can find it. So this, I actually ordered also, there's a piece of fabric to make your own bag. Of course, I did not make mine because it's the fabric still all in the bag. And it comes with this wonderful, this is a piece of fabric that's been printed. And it's actually based on, it's a reproduction from a page from one of the passengers on the Mayflower, William Bradford, who was husband to Dorothy Bradford, who's listed on here. And this is from his journal, a copy. It's printed out on fabric. And his writings documented the history of the first 30 years of Plymouth Colony. So it's really exciting. I love history. I love this kind of stuff. It also included this sweet little pattern here, Harvest Blessings. It came with a little Pilgrim needle minder, which mine is somewhere in the kit or in my stitching bag. So that's what this is. Now, I did not buy the kit. I went and bought all my own colors. And because actually when I was at the store, I think I was at the Golden Needle in Port Charlotte, Florida, there was another woman there and we were pulling the floss for it. And they were out of a lot of the colors. Like I said, it was very popular. It was hard to get some of the colors. So I just substituted what I could. And I don't remember what, it called for a 40 count linen, vintage country mocha by Zweigart, and then you work it over 2 threads, so it's 20 count. I did not get that. I decided to go with another 40 count linen, and it's beautiful. I love it. It's called I'm not sure who made the fabric, but it's called Stone, and this is my finish. So it's kind of a bluish gray. It's more blue than gray. But it's beautiful. And I love this sampler. Of course, like I said, I changed it quite a bit. I left out, there's a section here that says Cape Cod. What I did is I went back through my ancestors because I know they came over around that same time or shortly after the Mayflower. I believe some of my ancestors came over on the Lion, Lyon, which came over after the Mayflower. But I could not find any relatives that were on the Mayflower, which kind of disappointed me, but I was not surprised. But so what I did is I traced my ancestors back to the first woman that came to America. So this is all my ancestors, and I charted all of their names. So I traced it back through my mother's father, the Dexter line. I could not find it that far back through her mother. It kind of got cut off in the middle of what I was searching for. I'm sure eventually I will be able to find that. But meanwhile, so I added these are all the Dexters all the way down. Of course, all these women did not start out as Dexters, except my mother, of course. So this is their name, their maiden name, and then the Dexter name. And I traced it all the way back to the first one down to me. And of course, I don't have a Dexter in my name, but there's my mother, Marilyn Dexter Fisher. And I love the names. It was so much fun to do this and to find all these names. There was Abigail Fullerton Dexter. And then, so she married a Dexter. And then her daughter-in-law, who married her son, Abigail Whipple Dexter. Then there was Mary Field Dexter, and one of my favorite names, Hepzibah Wilkinson Dexter. And then Experience Clark Dexter, Miriam Howard Dexter, Lovica Brooks Dexter, Jenny Cornell Dexter, which is my mother's grandmother, and Jeanette Cook Dexter, who is my grandmother, and then my mother, Marilyn Dexter Fisher, and then me. And at the bottom, I put stitched in honor of my foremothers down across the bottom there. And then I stitched the verse that was on here, that was on the pattern. We are living in the tomorrow for which they wrought. I just love that. Now, this was supposed to be finished in 2020. You can see 2022. I set it aside for over a year. I was still deciding what I was going to do with it, and other things happened. Life got in the way. And then recently, in the last couple months, I wanted to get it done. I just was so excited. I wanted to get it done. So I went through, I had all the names charted, and I actually got it done fairly quickly. I also cut off, I did not stitch this bottom section here, so mine ends right here. And I just decided I liked it that way, so that's where I stopped. But it was an enjoyable stitch. It's all cross stitch, maybe a few straight stitches. Oh, I also added at the top, I added a cat. I changed a few things. I added a little black cat from my kitty Alphaba. I put my initials in here. It's so cute. It's got pigs, and there's a ram and a goat and chickens and a dog and other things. So that was my changes to it. Plus, I took out the names Cape Cod and Plymouth because they did not pertain to where my ancestors went. I'm sure they were there, but anyway, that was my finish, and that, to me, that's very exciting. So next, again, my latest design. I'm so excited about this also. This is a wonderful sampler. It was stitched by Damaris Perrin in 1726 when she was 9. So this sampler is amazing. I have the original here. It's hard to see. It's very faded, very dark, very long. But you see this bird here? This is what made me buy the sampler. That I saw it, I actually bought it on eBay. I buy a few samplers on eBay. I would caution you, if you don't know a lot about samplers, be careful. Just be careful, because I've seen a lot of them, and I've called out a few sellers, and some don't know, but they've listed ones just because people put a date on it doesn't mean that's when it was actually stitched. So sometimes I will contact sellers and go, and some of them deny it and tell me I'm not right, but I know I am. And others say, oh, thank you, I did not know that. So anyway, but like I said, if you don't know a lot about samplers, be very careful. This one is definitely an original. This is, again, it's from 1726. It's the design area is 149 wide and 344 tall. And this was stitched on a 40 count linen. It's kind of brown with age. I don't think this was the original color. And it was stitched with silk threads. So I will show you, this is my reproduction of this sampler, which I'm thrilled with. And again, you can see it's on a lighter linen. This is 40 count Zweigert cream Newcastle linen. And I'm using, use classic colorwork silks. And the colors on here match the unfaded colors on the back. This is the back of the sampler. You can see it's almost reversible. So I matched it. You can see how bright green the parrot is compared to the front. It's not quite as bright and faded. It has faded, but this is my reproduction. It's lovely. It was a lot of fun to stitch. There's a some stitches in, different stitches in here. So I'll talk about those in a minute. Excuse me, but I wanted to talk about the verse. The verse, it starts here at the top and stops here. This is all one verse, and it took me a while to find it. I did a lot of Google searching, I put sections, different words, lines from this verse in here, trying to find it. And it's actually an older version of Psalm 4. Now, over the years, the wording has changed. They used words back then that we don't use anymore. And I'll tell you that in just a minute. I'm going to read the verse to you. So like I said, it goes from the top here down to about here. It goes to right here. And parts of it are done in cross stitch. This section is done in eyelet stitch over 4 threads. There's sections done over 1 thread, very tiny here on 40 count. That's very small. So I will read you the verse again, or this is Psalm 4. So the verse reads, "O God, that art my righteousness, Lord, hear me when I call. Thou hast set me at liberty when I was bound in thrall." Right there, bound in thrall. That's not wording we use in this day. So that's what I used in my search to find this verse. "Have mercy, Lord, therefore on me, and grant me my request. For unto thee incessantly to cry, I will not rest. O mortal men, how long will you my glory gaze, my glory thus despise? Why wander ye in vanity and follow after lies? Know ye that?" And then that's where it stops. She stopped right there. I don't know why. Maybe she wanted to, maybe she was running out of linen and wanted to fit the Lord's Prayer in here, because this is the Lord's Prayer done over 1 thread. Now, let me show you the original again. This sampler, I did not pay a huge amount for it because it is in rough shape. You can see here, there's a lot of floss missing. A lot of it has worn away. It's just deteriorated over the years. Oh, down here at the bottom, you can see there's her name and where she signed it. It says, Damaris Perrin ended this sampler in the 9th year of her age, 1726. So I just think that's lovely. But because she used a fairly common alphabet and because of other letters that were available, and I know the Lord's Prayer, I could work out all the letters. So I did fill it all in, and it's all in here. It's all, she did it in a couple different colors. It's done over 1 thread. There's a few other things done over 1, strawberries and crowns and things like that. But it is a beautiful sampler. So the verse, like I said, is stitched in cross stitch, Algerian eye over 1 thread. There's other stitches on here. There's like a diagonal cross and an oblong cross, kind of unusual. There's some beautiful satin stitch band here, but it was fun. It was fun to reproduce. I just think it's a really cool sampler, and I love the bird. I mean, the parrot. That is what sold me. I just thought that was so unique. So again, I have the pattern available in, it's in my Etsy shop. There's a link down at the bottom. Here's the cover of the pattern. I do talk about the verse, the Psalm 4. This is the book she may have gotten the verse out of this book or a similar book. This is from the whole book of Psalms dated 1723. So the age is right. And I actually printed out a copy or included a copy of the Psalm. Now she kind of went across the lines. I think you're supposed to go down. I don't know. Anyway, but there's a page out of this book. I found the book in Google Docs or Google on Google search. You can actually download the whole book. I find a lot of items this way, but there's also a picture of the original next to the the reproduction, you can see they're almost exactly the same size because it was stitched on a 40 count linen. And I have directions for all the stitches she used, close-up diagrams. So you'll be able to figure out all the stitches she used. I have in the pattern, here's kind of the history that I've talked about. So you'll have the history of the sampler, what I know, the colors of it. These I've given you the, this is a classic Colorworks colors, and these are comparable DMC colors. They're never going to be exact, but these are, some people don't want to stitch with silk, and I totally understand that. So I've given DMC colors, silk colors. If you have problems finding any of the colors, I'm sure your Needleworks store will be happy if you have one. I know there's some really good Needleworks stores you can call, even if they're in another state, and they will help you find these colors or a comparable color, so you don't, so you can get close. I mean, it's never going to be exact to the original. I match as close as I can, but of course you're never going to get exact. But also I have the chart. It's 12 pages. I made it big so you could see it. So it's 12 pages long. And I actually put in a black and white copy and a color copy, because here you can see on the black and white copy, this bottom section of satin stitch, you're not going to be able to tell what colors are being used. And so here's the color version also. Some people prefer color, some people prefer black and white. So I just wanted to give you the option of using whichever one, you know, works best for you. Here's the big green bird. I love the bird. So anyway, that's, here you can see the, here's, you can see at the bottom, the satin stitch. That way you can see it better, what colors you're supposed to be using. And that is my, my latest design. Again, it's available in my Etsy shop. A little bit of history about Damaris. I haven't been able to find a huge amount being that far back. It can be a challenge sometimes to, it's kind of an unusual name. So I need to do some more research. And when I do, I will add that to it and tell you about it. So that's it. That's my second FlossTube video. I hope you enjoyed it. My next video is going to be posted February 1st. Again, there will be a new stitch of the month. Put in the comments any stitches you would like to learn. I'm ready, you know, I'm willing to give you what you want. Be sure you subscribe so you know when the videos come out. Please comment, like the video. That helps more people to find it. The more you like it, the more people subscribe, the more people will be able to find it. Instead of going directly to it, they can do a search. So again, please comment. Tell me what you liked, what you didn't like, anything you would like to see in future videos. And again, don't forget to let me know what stitch you want to learn and what stitches you hate. So, and we can work on that. So anyway, well, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoy this. Thanks. I will see you again on the 1st.